Zen Ray here, and we're here with Juby, the Tubi family above everything. Preseason starting up October 4th against Detroit at Madison Square Garden. We have a lot of little highlights of the Knicks training at training camp. Tom Thibodeau speaking about Julius Randle and Obi, how they can coexist together. And we're going to make things happen here at Juby, the Tubi. Welcome you and your family. How you been, my friend? And welcome to the platform.
What's going on, everybody? Nick Nation, salute to you guys. Appreciate you guys having me. And the preseason is upon us. Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come. I'm super excited. Watching a lot of film, watching a lot of training camp videos, which we'll get to. But it's just good to be back. Missed everybody. And exciting stuff, guys.
So, Juby, what have you been hearing about the Quentin Grimes so-called injury? It's not an injury. It's kind of a preventive injury. It seems like he'll be ready for the regular season, but are you hearing anything else besides that, Juby?
Quentin Grimes is just day-to-day right now. He has a little bit of soreness. They're taking precaution with him. Nothing too serious from what the Knicks training camp is basically giving us. So they're taking precaution, having him in a boot. Coach Tom Thibodeau in an interview stated that it's just a precaution because just a little bit of soreness, that he'll keep evaluating him, that players when they come into camp sometimes get a little bit banged up, but nothing to be alarmed. Should be ready to go come Tuesday.
That sounds good, and we'll be back in a few. I have a little interview with Cam Reddish, and we'll go from there in the training camp. I just want to welcome everybody, Nick Nation, my band of brothers. I greatly appreciate you all being here, and also for just kind of just giving the likes and commenting and just subscribing to this platform. I greatly appreciate you guys. But hang out for 1 second. Need to get a couple of things organized, but I'll be back in a second, Juby. Give me a sec, Juby.
It'll gotta get underground, gotta put in that work so you can make it count. It'll create itself, gotta get underground, gotta put in that work so you can make it count. It don't create itself, I'm sure you know. Many had gas and your body just blow. If you don't put it work, you never know. If you don't take a step, you never grow. You just keep dreaming about it to go, but you never put a foot on the road. Gotta be ready, you gotta be bold. Pick up a shovel and dig up a hole. You gotta pop, you gonna divide.
Welcome back, Juby. And let's put a little bit of, there was a little controversy about Cam Reddish wanting a trade and wanted to kind of not be a Knick. Let's get this from Cam Reddish himself. Here's Cam Reddish.
In the weight room, working out, lifting. It was my birthday. Then I opened up Instagram and I had like 50 comments, and I'm like, what did I do? So I'm like, so I opened it up and it's like, yeah, request a trade. I'm like, I didn't do that. I'm just lifting weights. I don't know where that came from. Nah, I gotta deal with that. It's not fair. You understand? You feel me? But it's all good. I understand how it go. But nah, I ain't requesting no trade at all.
Nah, he didn't, guys.
Yeah, like come on, man.
That's Knicks Media for you. That's Knicks Media, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Turner, Good morning, my friends. Salute to you. Appreciate you being in here. But listen, Cam Reddish is just getting a taste of what Knicks Media is about, ladies and gentlemen.
Totally.
We went through it all summer with all the speculations and all the rumors and all the Donovan Mitchell shenanigans. But we're past that. We're not gonna call them young guys anymore because somebody said that the other day. If I'm not mistaken, it was oh my God, the guy from Madison Square Garden I can't think of his name right now. Ray, help me. Mike Breen. No, not Mike Breen.
Okay. One of the announcers. Okay.
Anyway, they basically said that the players that we're referring to, the young guys, are not considered young guys anymore. They're considered players they've vets in a sense. They've been here 3 years. The majority of them, like Emmanuel quickly is coming in his third season. So they're not considered the young guys anymore. So, that Cam Reddish thing was just a little taste of how Knicks media is. They take one little statement and they blow it up. I'm pretty sure somebody started that rumor, and or maybe he just spoke with somebody and was like, you know what? I hope I get some playing time. If not, I'm gonna try to see where I can go, where I can get some playing time. And somebody just blew that context out of proportion. And
yeah, I totally
that's
agree.
what that is.
Salutes to Keith Turner, my friends. I appreciate you coming on, man. I haven't seen you in a while, but I'm glad you're on, Mr. Keith Turner. Salutes, my friend. Yeah, look, Cam Reddish is going to be a part of this Knicks team. How much playing time he's going to get is the unknown. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau has the last say to that. But Tom Thibodeau has to look with Cam Reddish, and he spoke very highly about Cam Reddish and the whole team in general. But let me just put on the starting lineups or the training camp attendees to the Knicks this training camp.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good roster. Pretty good roster.
I don't know if you know Jalen Harris, Toronto Raptors. I think he was suspended for violation of the drug violation. He went overseas. He played. He was a backup. He looks like a player that could be rejuvenated. How much play time he's going to be with the Knicks, if he's going to be playing the G League. Jalen Harris was not a bad pickup. Toronto had a chance of signing him. Obviously, they didn't. I think they didn't want to be involved with the drug allegations for him failing that test. So Jalen Harris is going to be interesting. 24 years old, and he was suspended. And he played in Europe. He played in Italy. He played in the Canada Elite Basketball League. He played in several places. His suspension is obviously he's welcome to come back to the NBA. So he has a new lease on life, let's say, Juby. Jalen Harris may be a possible player that the Knicks could look at that guard position. Listen, the more players we have in this team, backups, you never know what might happen injury-wise. We have Quentin Grimes now in the boot, and then we have Cam Reddish, who has a history of getting injured. So let's see what happens. I like the fact we got this whole team here: Miles McBride, Trevor Keels, Emmanuel Quickly, Daquan Jeffries. We spoke about him in our last show. He had a good show in the Summer League. RJ Barrett, who I expect big things this year, Juby. RJ Barrett, I think he's going to make that step up, and I think people are not going to be talking about the Knicks blew the chance of getting Donovan Mitchell. I think RJ Barrett can be in that caliber with better defense. And Jalen Brunson, we know Jalen Brunson is the guy who's going to put the Knicks team in position to succeed. So I expect big things from Jalen Brunson. Evan Fournier, the hot and cold, maybe coming off the bench and have the Quentin Grimes starting. I don't think that. I think now that Quentin Grimes in the boot, Evan Fournier will be starting. I don't know who this player is. I have no clue. I have to do some research on him right now. Mitchell Robinson, obviously Julius Randle, Ferren Hunt, who had a big play with him in the Summer League. Him and Daquan Jeffries kind of stood out in that Summer League. And Jericho Sims, what can we say about Jericho Sims? And Ryan Ardisandio, he showed some things when he had some playing time for a few minutes toward the end. He's a solid backup. I don't see him being on that team or maybe in the G League. We don't know. And obviously the backup center to Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein. Juby, this thing looks like a solid team. Let's see what the Knicks and management, including adding Tom Thibodeau, what he's going to do and how he's going to develop players, how many players he's going to play, 9 players, 10 players. The big key is having back Rose, which is very, very big, and having obviously Rose taking over and having obviously Brunson taking over the lead. So Brunson and Rose are the keys to this team. Obviously Rose in that second unit and Brunson in that first unit. Juby, give me your opinion on this team so far, or this team.
Team looks deep, Zenray. I mean, looking at that whole entire list that we have there, you come to think about how we're gonna find so many minutes for all these guys. But I got a little section from the interview from Tom Thibodeau here. I'm not sure if I can display it, but he basically states that things are going to happen. Players are going to get hurt. You're going to see, and when the player's name gets called upon, they got to be ready. So just like you said, Quentin Grimes is day to day. Although I don't think it's a serious injury, I think he'll be ready for Tuesday's preseason open. They're just taking precaution. But during the season, we're going to have scenarios like this. Unfortunately, It's the way of the game. Things happen. It's life. We may see Julius go down. We may see Obi go down, Mitchell Robinson. And when that time comes, these players got to be ready. Cam Reddish is 100% going to get his time. He's going to he just needs to be ready. Same thing goes for Jericho Sims. Those are the guys that we want to see play, but it's hard to find minutes for them because, me and you have spoken about this, who the lineups are going to be, who the sixth man is going to be, and who the rotation players are going to be. Players like Cam Reddish, Jericho Sims, Miles McBride are going to have to show something in this training camp on why they need to be in this rotation. Because, other players are penciled in. Quickly, he's going to get his minutes. Even Obi Toppin is going to get his minutes this year, I think. I think Obi Toppin would at least see 20-something minutes this upcoming season. And, everybody's concerned about the duel of Julius Randle and Obi. Coach spoke about it. Coach basically said that, when he tried to use it last year, the Knicks were down. They were losing. And that's what he states. He says he's going to implement that more this upcoming season, hopefully when the opportunities arise. And he sees no problem because the type of offense he runs is an open man offense. And now that we got a ball facilitator who states that he's not our savior, but he sure looks like a savior to me. The kid is ready. He's going to orchestrate this basketball team and get the ball to the open man, which will leave up some offense for Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Like you said, I expect big things from RJ, and I think a comeback season is in hand for Julius Randle also, Zenray.
Hey, listen, I agree everything you said. I think that the Knicks coming October 4th, we're going to see the preseason game as on Tuesday at the Garden against the Detroit Pistons. We're going to find more and see what these players are made of. Now, not everybody can make the team. You know that they're not going to have young talent like DeCon Jeffries and Farron Hunt on the bench not getting any play because they need to develop. Even a Trevor Keels, I don't see them playing on the team. So they're going to get developed in the G League somehow, some way. Even a Jalen Harris as well, having a player like that also in the G League. But you never know. Jalen Harris may surprise people. We don't know yet. We'll find out. But Juby, let's continue with what I have here. I have the training camp trainees. First day of camp. Let's get it.
Derrick Rose looks in fantastic shape, man.
Oh, yeah. His potties.
Amazing.
I'm just feeling hyper now. Love the way that I'm thinking now.
Thompson. It's Obi.
I'm just feeling hyper now.
There you go.
Love the way that I'm living now.
Hyper. Coming up.
I'm just feeling hyper now. Love the way that I'm thinking now.
The Broadway himself.
Here we go.
I'm just feeling hyper now.
It's quick. The man.
Love the way that I'm living now. Love the way that I'm living now. I be living like a boss. I be bouncing, floating in the cloud. Don't care about anything, yeah, my music super loud. I be drowning all the noise till I'm really zoned out. Never back to the old me. I'm always moving forward, is the grown me. I don't really feel bad when it's really rough. I just turn the music out. Yeah, I'm living for the rush and I go hard. You can hear the way I flow, double F is just a dough. What they talking at my show? Now, I be giving niggas oh yeah, they really getting bold. When they see me, I just go. When I'm on the beat, hyphy got a heat, put it on repeat. I just let it read, take it back to the peak. Clean up all the shit, nothing's gonna stop me.
Yes, nothing is gonna stop them. And Juby, look, Jube, I look at it this way. Training camp, everybody coming together, Brunson getting to know the team. This is a very important year for Tom Thibodeau. I think Brunson is going to take over. I think, people talk about Julius Randle and his bad acts of last year. Listen, that's behind us. We're willing to give Julius Randle, give him another chance. I think Brunson and Derrick Rose being on the team, especially Derrick Rose, can control his temperament. And that's the whole key to Julius Randle, his temperament. Just get him under control and say, hey, let's play ball. Let's keep your mind in the game. And I think players like Jalen Brunson and Derrick Rose are the keys to this. Not only first unit and second unit. Cohesively, I think the Knicks bench could be one of the best in the NBA, Juby.
I agree with you. You know what stood out for me in that video, Zenray? Great video, by the way, man. Gave me goosebumps. As you guys know, I'm family above everything, man. And just looking at that cohesive team, the way they were gelling, they're having fun, they're working out together. You see Tom Thibodeau and Julius Randle hugging it out. They look like they're having fun. They're working together as a group. This team is so underrated right now in the NBA. And 100%, I think they have the chance to do something special and shock the world. And you mentioned Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose came into camp in fantastic shape. All he did really was change his diet. He says as he gets older, he realized, which I agree with him. I'm going through that a little bit myself. As you get older, you gotta, change the way you eat, your diets, and it affects your mind and your body. And he came into camp ready to go and into shape. And a key thing that stood out for me, which I'll have on my channel, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see the video short, in a day or so, basically stating that he's holding every player accountable, including himself. He basically states that, everybody shouldn't get offensive if somebody calls out somebody, if somebody missed an assignment, if somebody missed a pick and roll, that it's just basketball and nobody should take that to heart. And in his a little interview, Julius Randle comes out and he says, yeah. And he looks at him as he's talking about it. So you like to see that they know who they're referring to. And, everybody's definitely going to be held accountable, including Coach Thibodeau this upcoming season.
No, I totally agree. And look, I'm going to put on an interview with Tom Thibodeau because it's important to know where this team is at. And I think Tom Thibodeau is, like we mentioned, is the key to the next season and what they can kind of make things happen along the way. But let me put a little Obi Toppin before we put on Coach Tibbs, because Obi Toppin is such a likable guy. And getting back to Obi Toppin, you were talking about Julius Randle and them coexisting in a game. I think it could happen. That's the only way Obi Toppin is going to get 25 minutes plus on this team. If he doesn't play together with Randle, where are you going to play him? Unless Randle gets injured. I can see Randle and Obi coexisting in a game together. And you have to kind of trial by error. You have to make this kind of, and even in training camp, see how that works as well. So I see big things from Obi and quickly.
Get a little bit of money, forget about your boy.
Besties for life.
Look, that second unit with Obi and quickly, Juby. Wow, it's gonna be something kind of dynamic we're gonna look into.
Like I said, Obi, quickly, Rose, Cam Reddish, and Harstein and Grimes. Oh my God, that because unfortunately, Tom Thibodeau says that as of right now, at the start of training camp, Evan Fournier looks like he's the penciled in starting shooting guard, which we don't agree with. A lot of Knick Nation and myself included. We all want to see Quentin Grimes start, but he made a valid point, and I think you did as well, Zenray. You said that we got to surround Brunson with some shooters, some deadlock three-point shooters to open up the offense a few shows back. And Evan Fournier, we forget that he broke John Stark's three-point record last season. And although we think his defense is shaky, even though he said in his interview that towards the end of last season, his defense did get better, and he didn't know what his role was last season, but he's more comfortable coming into this camp. So he says that we're going to see some things that we haven't seen from him, from a defensive end, from a ball distribution end. And I'm willing to, like I said, I'm willing to even let Evan Fournier get some shine. If it works out well with him as a starting shooting guard, why not?
Yeah, he has to, Juby. I think you mentioned it before as well. 19 million reasons why he's going to play. I see like Fournier and Randle, try to get their stocks up so you can make a trade in the All-Star break. Maybe the Knicks are not quite there yet, and you can get rid of some players like a Fournier and Randle, get something in return in terms of, how Leon Rose loves his draft picks, get some draft capital in return, and possibly, put Obi in the full-time duties at that power forward. So here's Obi Toppin.
Great guy, great leader. It's great to have him around us. He's always helping us on the sidelines, even if he's not playing. Like last year, he was helping us, talking to us about certain things because he sees a lot on the sidelines. He's been in this game for a long time. So it's great having him around, and for him to be back healthy is amazing.
Derrick Rose, ladies and gentlemen.
That's Derrick Rose. People don't realize, like, if we had Derrick Rose last year, maybe we make that play in 8th seed, maybe 7th seed. You never know. When you lose a leader like Derrick Rose, and now you pass the leadership qualities to a Julius Randle, that's like night and day. Julius can't handle that spotlight. Rose has been handling that spotlight for all his life. So Julius Randle, that's something new to Julius Randle. And I'm not downing Julius Randle. He's a 2010 machine. So just get him in the position to succeed with Jalen Brunson and Rose. And this team, if Tom Thibodeau coaches this team appropriately, we can see a big difference from last year's team, Julie.
Yeah, like you said, it's all about Tom Thibodeau. And listen, a lot of these players didn't have a full training camp. We got Cam Reddish in February. He didn't have no training camp with us, and then he got hurt. We saw people who made training camp and who have been with the team prior to last season work well together. And you said it, Derrick Rose was a big hit for us, man, with that second unit, and with Derrick Rose and Julius Randle on the court at the same time. That took pressure off of Julius Randle the year before, and that's how we were able to. Julius Randle was able to have a season that he had, in my opinion, was because of Derrick Rose. And now with a healthy Derrick Rose back, not only physically, but it looks like he's mentally ready. He has something to prove. And so does, a lot of these guys. RJ Barrett's going to have a lot to prove. I know he knows that people were saying that, they should have traded him for Donovan Mitchell. Those are going to be the things that they say. Right. But he's going to come out and he's going to prove that this is why you kept me. This is why I'm one of the faces of the franchise of this team. And at the end, we're going to learn a lot from these guys. Jalen Brunson says he's not a savior, like I said, and we don't want him to be a savior. We just want him to be a ball facilitator, get the offense moving, and come crunch time, make the right decision with the basketball.
Totally agree. And here's Tom Thibodeau and his thoughts on the team and players like a Hartenstein and other players he's going to mention here.
The best part of him is his willingness to sacrifice. So I think when he went to Villanova his freshman year, he, sort of played off the ball there. He brought it up, got rid of it, moved without it, and that creates pace and it creates movement and then good decision-making. And
I like the beer tits.
I think
yeah. He's just trying to follow up, man.
Dallas, he started off in a secondary role and just kept getting better and better. And sometimes I think he can fool you because he doesn't necessarily look the part, but he is the part. And so his mind is spectacular the way he sees the game, and that's a big plus for us.
Listen, that's well said by Tom Thibodeau. People underrate the fact that we have a Jalen Brunson. Remember, the way he played, he almost got to the finals if they beat Phoenix.
Went to the Western Conference. Yeah.
Think about it. People negate the fact that he doesn't look the part. And I jokingly say sometimes he looks like he's going to trip over on himself the way he plays. But the guy's talented. The guy doesn't look the part, but he plays the part. And he's an amazing player. And Nick Nation, you have to understand the Knicks haven't had a point guard since when? Finally, we can say we have a point guard can score you 16 points a game, can distribute the ball, get the players in position to succeed. Nick Nation, we have something spectacular with a Jalen Brunson. Here's Tom Thibodeau talking about Isaiah Hartenstein.
Obviously, the rim protection is key.
I think, for all teams. But, with Mitch, New Orleans and Noel in the past, and now Isaiah, we think that's critical for us. So you're either going to have rim protection or you have to have someone who can step in and take charges, I think, at that position. I knew from the games that he played against us, the way that he protected the rim, that, it would be a huge factor. He's long and he's tough and he anticipates really well. So he sees things ahead of time and he's not afraid to put his body on people. He's always thinking help. And so I think that's a big part of that. Yeah.
I think it was a spot where I felt wanted. I mean, that was a big thing coming into it, finding a place where, first of all, I can bring something, and I thought I can bring something that they didn't have to help them win. And it was a good situation for me. I mean, I think coming in, bringing something different than what they had before. And Mitch does great stuff, but me just bringing something different on the offensive end, and then defensively was really good in rim protecting last year. So it's just still keeping that. And just
I like what he said right there. Well said.
To help him win. Well said.
He basically stated Mitch does. We all know what Mitch can do, and that's that honest truth. Mitch is a above the rim kind of player, a blocking machine. But with this guy, he can pass the ball, he can shoot the open jump shot, and he's also a rim protector, guys. I didn't actually know that. That the guy averaged 2 blocks a game last season. And you wouldn't know that just by looking at him. You would think that he's just a long guy, but he doesn't look like he's physically big. And it's going to be exciting. I'm glad we have him as a backup to Mitchell Robinson, and it's going to be great, man.
Yeah, he can expand the floor as well. He can shoot the three occasionally, and that makes him very valuable. And when we look at the pickups the Knicks did, Jalen Brunson, okay, Knicks fans or the media said you overpaid for him. And then we have Hartenstein. Oh, nobody speaks about it. These are 2 underrated players they picked up, and they're going to have an important role on this team, especially Hartenstein backing up Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has his ill effects of getting injured here and there, and Hartenstein is such a valuable piece. And then you have Uncle Sims to back him up. So they have all their bases covered, put it that way, Juby. And I see this team elevating to a level that people don't realize they can. Can they make the 8th seed? Look, Tom Thibodeau has to coach his best year ever and putting the players on the floor that can succeed with the right, Jalen Brunson or Derrick Rose. Now, he has Jalen Brunson and Derrick Rose. That's only going to make his job a little easier because, especially Derrick Rose, he's like a coach on the floor. So, Juby, give me your take, and we're going to jump ahead a little bit. Do you think the Knicks can make the playoffs this coming year?
I was just going to cut you in and talk about that. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Thibodeau said this about Jalen Brunson. He doesn't look the part, but he plays the part. I think the Knicks don't look the part, but if all works out well, they can play the part. They got some talented basketball players. We know what they're about. Just think about it. 2 seasons ago, we were in the 4th seed. I know it was the COVID thing, and the fans weren't in the stadiums, and it was shortened their season. But with some key things that happened to the Boston Celtics this season coming up, and a couple of other teams and players, I think the Knicks can make it 7th seed, Zenray. I don't think they don't have to play in the play-in tournament. I think they can be 6 or 7. I'm not going to say 4. But I think they can surprise us and shock the world and be 6 or 7. They're playing with something to play for. They have a lot to prove, and I feel like they got something on their shoulders this year, and they definitely 100% want to shock Knick Nation and the world.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a chip on their shoulder. Juby, I think, like I said, Thibodeau, I see a big year from Barrett. I think Randle can get back to his game that he usually plays without him handling the ball too much. Obviously, you're going to see Randle handling the ball here and there, but now with a point guard there, you don't need him to hit the ball. I mean, he is a player that you need him to produce, because where else are you going to get the production? You look at Julius, if he does his normal 18 to 20 points a game, and you have Barrett doing the same thing, and you have Fournier chipping in his 14, 15 points a game, and then Jalen can do his 14, 15 points a game. You have scoring all around, and Mitchell Robinson is not there for his scoring, so you don't need Mitchell Robinson out there. Mitchell Robinson is probably or is the best defender on the team, so he's there for his defense and his rim protection, and he makes other players better by covering up for those players when they have defensive lapses, and that's why you can play and get away with a Jalen Brunson and a Fournier here and there, because that's the only challenge you're going to have. You're going to have two people at the top of the key who their defense is very, very weak. And that's where Mitchell Robinson comes in. And it's the help defense. Not only is he a great defender of the team, but he's a great team defender. And people don't see how underrated his defense is. And people don't look at Mitchell Robinson as this great defender, but he is the best defender of the team. What do you think, Juby? Mitchell Robinson?
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson 100% is the best defender on the team. I think without him, this wouldn't work. That's why they were looking at Donovan Mitchell. Imagine we were going to have 2 6'1" guys, 6'2", and that's why they were considering it before Danny Ainge wanted the farm and RJ Barrett and a chopped cheese from New York City. But thankfully, we didn't go through with that. Mitchell Robinson is going to handle his business down low. I'm happy he got a contract extension. I love his interview where he said that he got the phone call about his extension and he ran into the water like a kid. It just comes to show you how he's still young and spirited. And he's so happy to be here. So is RJ. But you know what stood out for me too, Zenray? And I told you this a couple of shows back. You know, besides Brunson and RJ and Julius having big years, I think Emmanuel Quickley is going to have a very big year. I think on the defensive side. They asked Emmanuel Quickley what he worked on this year, and he said passing. He did say a little bit of shooting, but he said defense. He wants to be known as defense. You're saying the right things. When you say defense, you know that's music to Tom Thibodeau's ears. Same thing with Cam Reddish. He said that he's working on his defense. But Emmanuel Quickley, man, I've seen some pickup games in the summer of stuff that I didn't know the kid can do. And you mentioned where you're going to get your scoring from. From the bench side, Emmanuel Quickley can easily drop 20 points if he wanted to, in my opinion. Derrick Rose another 15. Cam Reddish can knock in 8 to 10 points. So I think it's going to be a balanced scoring. And if one player has an off night, I think somebody else can step in and make up those numbers.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the key. Here's Jalen Brunson on an interview. And just listen to what Jalen Brunson has to say.
I find it hilarious that no one caught the 61st home run.
I agree.
What he's doing is special. And I don't even know what to say. It's just when you see something like that, it's just special. You're just kind of in astonishment. So I'm happy for him.
Okay, I thought it was a little more than that. I probably got the wrong interview. He talked about Aaron Judge, well-deserved 61, and hopefully the last 5 games he'll break that record. And we'll see more things coming up with Jalen Brunson. But Juby, people underrate this team. I think this team has a lot to show. Once again, it's the training camp roster. And I see some good things. I still have to look up that player. Savi, he seems like a European player. I'm going to look him up in a few. But you can only bring 12 in and 2 backups. I can see, can a Ferren Hunt make the team? Can Daquan Jeffries make the team? Where are you going to play them? You already got your first unit, your second unit filled up. I don't see any of these players making it. G Leaguers, maybe this Ryan Arcidio, he played last year. He could probably come off the bench. You could need another player who could bring the ball up. But remember, you got Derrick Rose and you have Miles McBride. So how much play is Miles McBride going to get as long as Derrick Rose is here? I think he could probably get to 10 minutes a game, if that much. As long as you got these point guards here, unless barring any injury, God forbid, Derrick Rose goes down. You got Miles McBride, and I think he'll be ready for the challenge, Juby.
Absolutely. I was just going to mention about, we see these Kevin Keels and Hunt. Before any of those guys get a chance to play, you're going to see Miles McBride play. I don't think you're going to see too much of Miles McBride in the G League this season. I think he's played in the G League. I think maybe he'll do it every now and then to keep his body in shape or to just, get some practice in. But these guys, Ryan Darciano, Harris, those are going to be guys that are going to, in my opinion, are going to be on the G League roster, and nice players to have on the G League roster.
Trevor Keels, I don't think Trevor Keels is ready. I saw him play in the summer league. He didn't look comfortable at all. He still needs a little development. He's 19 years old. Let's see what happens, Juby. Juby, do you see anything else the Knicks coming up this year in terms of picking up any other players?
No, I think the Knicks and the Knicks organization are happy with what they have and who they have, and I think they're going to move forward with the crew, the guys. I'm not going to say no more of the young guys because they're not young. They're ready, they're hungry, and we're just going to call them the guys, the team. And I expect great things. I really doubt we're going to have a season like we had last season, unless something happens dramatically where we can't buy a bucket, where coaching is horrible. Players are saying the right things. Coaches are saying the right things. So it's going to be exciting, man. Like I said, first game is preseason is Tuesday. And it's against Detroit Pistons. And, the Detroit Pistons got a good roster too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I know it's only preseason, but it's just good to have Knicks basketball back.
I totally agree. So looking at the Knicks preseason schedule, not that it doesn't matter, how many games do you think the Knicks will win? And after that, I'll ask you the season schedule. How many wins do you think the Knicks will have as well? So preseason, what you think they win a couple of games?
I say they go 500 preseason.
Okay,
it's 4 games preseason. I say they go 2-2, and it's only because of trial and error. Coach is gonna mix and match lineups. He's gonna give players opportunities. We're not gonna see RJ, playing 25, 30 minutes. So I say 2-2. The team goes. I'll be surprised if we go 3-1 or 4-0, but 2-2, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So now we get to the harder question: 2022 and 2023 season. Tom Thibodeau, head coach of the Knicks. How many wins do you see? And if they make the playoffs, what seed do you see him at? Juby, tough questions. So early in the season.
Well, I'm a big person about, and you are too, Zenry, because you're the one who taught me this. We're not going to say if. We're going to say it's going to happen. All right, we're going to speak it to life, speak it to the universe. Enough of this if stuff. The Knicks are going to make the play-in tournament, or they're going to be the 7th seed. And I say that gets done with 46 wins this upcoming season.
Wow. You're very optimistic.
That's my low margin. I think it can happen that they win 48 to 49 games, but that's my low ball. I very doubt, and I know I'm speaking like a Knicks fan who gets excited at the beginning of every year, but if things go right with the players that got something to prove in the coaching, I say 45, 46 wins easy.
Okay. Let's just say that Tom Thibodeau needs to accomplish that to keep his job. I think anything under 40 wins, Tom Thibodeau.
Anything under 40, it's a fail.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal. And I think even at the All-Star break or the trading deadline, if the Knicks are not there or they're hunting for a play-in, I can see a Julius Randle if he plays well, and a Evan Fournier if he plays well, that there'll be trade suitors for them. But if the Knicks are in the hunt for a playoff or they're playing well, they're a 7th seed, that's the problem there. If they're playing so well and you keep these players on the team and everything's meshing, kudos for the Knicks.
So what do you say, Zed? We put me on the spot. What do you say for preseason and for season?
I think preseason, I agree. 2-2, 1-3, or experimental. You want to win a game or two, but I think I'm in the same boat that you're at. During the season, Thibodeau needs to get into the playoffs and win at least 45 games to keep him around. Anything under 40 games, like I mentioned, Tom Thibodeau will be dismissed with getting a job in the organization. That's Leon Rose's pal, so I don't see him being terminated in that sense. Well, you never want to embarrass a coach like Tom Thibodeau, But if the Knicks play their way, I can see the Knicks winning 48, 49 games if everything, barring any injury. But going down to the realistic side, I think that even if Tom Thibodeau coaches well, it can go as low as 42 games. So low end 42, high end 49.
All right.
Nick
Well
Nation,
said.
give me your opinion, Nick Nation. I know it's a little too early to debate this because the Knicks have to see what they have in these training camp. But the players that are here now, healthy, Obi, a healthy Cam Reddish. And I think Cam Reddish is also a person you should experiment. If he plays well in this training camp, put him in the starting lineup. People talk about, Grimes and Fournier. Imagine a tandem of RJ and Cam Reddish playing together cohesively. That's also a possibility. But it all depends what Coach Tibbs sees. And obviously, Coach Tibbs is so unpredictable. We don't know if we're going to get the old Coach Tibbs or where Tom Thibodeau, where he's going to just play heavy veterans and play, a Julius Randle 45 minutes and a Fournier 35 minutes. I hope we don't see that because that negates the whole process of building this youth with the Knicks. So let's see what happens, Juby. I say this much. The Knicks can surprise a lot of people in NBA. I'm not saying they're going to be 5 seed, 6 seed, but they can surprise you and probably get into the 8, 7 seed. Low end, they'll probably make that play-in team, play-in games. But Coach Thibodeau has to win more than 40 games. If he's under 40 games, I see the Knicks making a change sometime during the season if they're desperate enough or sometime next year.
Agreed. And to make a change, looking right down the bench to Johnny Bryant, hopefully, if Coach Tom Thibodeau is not the right answer for these young guys. But I think he's going to get it together. I don't think we're going to see old Thibodeau. I don't think we're going to see new Thibodeau. I think we're going to see a Tom Thibodeau who plays his offense with what he sees. We're going to see a little bit of both. I think we're going to see mix and match. I think Obi's going to get his minutes. Quickly, he's going to get his minutes for sure. And Grimes. Those are my more than 100%. I'm positive those are the young guys that are going to get playing time. Cam Reddish still up in the air. Depends on how he comes into training camp.
Yes.
Miles McBride, unless somebody gets injured, you might see him, 4 or 5 minutes, if that, unless somebody's in foul trouble.
Right.
And then the rest of the guys, I don't see them getting any kind of burn. And when I mean the rest of the guys, like I said, I mean the new young acquisitions that we got. So
listen, I totally agree. It all depends and falls on Tom Thibodeau. I think that Juby, that the Knicks have a plan. Leon Rose has set up a foundation for them. That's up to Thibodeau to use the assets he has. We have to know what we have in this team and these young players to know what kind of assets we have. And Juby, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I know you were feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm glad you're feeling a little better today. But I want to thank you, and I want to thank Nick Nation, my band of brothers, for coming on. I'm going to end the show with the training camp theme of the Knicks. And we're going to be on in the next few days. We're going to have some projects and some stuff coming out for the training camp. Tuesday, we're gonna probably come after the game. My schedule is full. So we have a comment from Dre House. As a Knicks fans, we always expect more than we can get. But I'm not mad at the speculation. We get 7 seed. But if we don't see improvement by January, we need to hit that trade deadline. Dre House, my sentiments, my same sentiments, Juby. If we know this Knicks team is moving and you see a value of a Julius Randle and an Evan Fournier, and teams need some guys for the playoff that they need for scores or whatever they may need, even if Leon Rose packs more draft capital, then you're going to have to do it. That way you free Obi full-time and you get this team moving. By the All-Star break in the trend, I think you're going to know with the players we have, these young players like Emmanuel Quickly, obviously, the Farron Hunts and these players, if they get any playing time. Cam Reddish, we're going to know what we have in these players. If we're going to, Cam Reddish is playing for a contract. And Dre, I agree with you, and I thank you for giving your comments and your opinion. I totally agree with Dre. But I think Cam Reddish is playing for a contract. So you know how players, when they play for a contract, they play a little bit over their head. So this is the year you have to play Cam Reddish. He knows that he's playing for a contract, and the Knicks, if he plays well, obviously he's going to get signed. So Juby, give me before we go, Cam Reddish. Do you see Cam Reddish, barring any injury, making an impact on this team, and should the Knicks start him?
I see him making an impact on this team. I don't think he'll be starting, unfortunately. I think it's still too early. Could it happen in the future? It can, depending on how the season goes. I think Cam Reddish can be a rotation player. I think he can definitely play. I think we said it.
Where, Juby? You have Fournier blocking his way.
I was just going to say the Evan Fournier, in my opinion, unless Evan Fournier comes into this season and shocks me that he's a total different player, I still think the Evan Fournier experiment needs to end. I still think that Quentin Grimes should be our starter, and Cam Reddish should be the backup small forward or the shooting guard between RJ and Grimes. And who knows? Like I said, maybe Cam Reddish can earn a starting position. But I think the Evan Fournier experiment is going to be over soon, especially if he does have a good season and we're not going anywhere. Like you said, teams like Lakers, teams like Boston. Well, I don't think he'll go back to Boston, but teams like the Lakers, Golden State might be calling to get some more shooting, even though Golden State has enough shooters as it is. The Lakers is where I see him going. I think he would fit well with LeBron James and Anthony Davis over there as opening up the shooting guard spot. But we'll see. Right now, he's a Knick. I'm excited he's a Knick. I'm excited for the players that we got. And like Dre House said, we appreciate the comment. We always expect more from our team. As Knick fans, we always put our players up on pedestals. But that's what we do. And that's what separates us from everybody else. And that's what makes us the best fans in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dre makes that a good point. I think that's my 7th seed for me is probably Thibodeau getting the best out of his players. Anything below that, if we get a play-in team and we're under that 40 games, Tom Thibodeau is going to be searching for a head coaching job if he still wants a head coach, or maybe stay in the organization as some kind of scout or player evaluator, whatever it may be, that the Knicks will open a spot for him there. But this is the key for the Knicks season this year is Tom Thibodeau kind of, playing his youth, seeing what we have in these assets, because once teams know that we have a Grimes who's a 3-and-D player and can play that type of defense, can score, there's going to be a lot of suitors for Grimes. Cam Reddish, if he has a good training camp and ends up starting and coming off the bench because of his play, there's going to be suitors for him. You have even a McBride. If he gets some playing time and see suitors, you may get suitors. Jericho Sims, the same thing. You have a lot of young players that you need to find out what you have in them, and the only way you're going to do is by playing them. And I think Obi Toppin skyrocketed his play by the way he played last year. Toward the end of the year with Quickly, you put that Obi and Quickly tandem together, this Knick team could be very dangerous. Knick Nation, I appreciate coming on, band of brothers. Juby, thanks once again, and Dre and Keith as always, and people watching. Knick Nation, remember, never give up, knowing that the best is yet to come. As long as you have love, peace, and gratitude, guys. Knick Nation, my band of brothers, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and give me your comments. I appreciate Dre and Keith doing their thing here today, and the rest who are watching. And I just want to give out a shout out to the Tamayo family out in the Philippines. So thank you, Tamayo family. Great family out there in the Philippines. Greatly appreciate you guys and the people out there who are watching the Knicks in the Philippines. Greatly appreciate you guys as well. Remember, I'm going to put the ending of the training camp video right now coming up. We'll end the show with that. Juby, we'll see you soon. We'll schedule something from a week from today, sometime maybe Thursday or Friday. We'll do something else, probably a Thursday. Juby, much love. Take care, Knick Nation.
My band of brothers.
First day camp, let's get it.
I'm just feeling high right now. Love the way that I'm thinking now. I'm just feeling hyper now. Love the way that I'm living now. I'm just feeling hyper now. Love the way that I'm thinking now. I'm just feeling hyper now. Love the way that I'm living now. Love the way that I'm living now. I be living like a boss. I be bouncing, floating in the cloud. Don't care about anything, yeah, my music super loud. I be drowning all the noise till I'm really zoned out. Never back to the old me. I'm always moving forward, it's the grown me. And I don't really feel bad when it's really rough. I just turn the music out, yeah, I'm living for the rush. And I go hard. You can hear the way I flow, double F is just a dough. What they talking at my show? Now, I be giving niggas oh, yeah, they really getting bold. When they see me, I just go. When I'm on the beat, hyphy got a heat, put it on repeat. I just let it read, take it back to the peak. Then I bought the sheet, nothing's gonna stop me.